Professor Fᴏ𴗵𗗵. So now we will welcome here in person in the stage the amazing, talented, and our lovely TICE member as well. So Dr. Nawel is coming from USA, as it's an associate professor at Long Island University in New York in the School of Engineering, Computer Science, and AI. She holds a PhD in marketing from HEC Montréal, Canada. She served as the chair of the business department from 2019 to 2022. Her research focuses on static and dynamic game theory for analytical modeling applied to branding, competition, and various supply chain contexts using simulation and advanced optimization techniques. In addition, her work has been published in various top journals, national and international conferences. So let's welcome together Dr. Nawel. The stage is yours, Nawel. Maybe I will add a summary of her today's talk. So Nawel will cover the role of AI and machine learning in the marketing field and the importance of quantitative methods to analyze the target market and improve organizational performance. She will focus on a sample of machine learning techniques and their application to achieve marketing goals. So let's listen to her and enjoy her keynote.
Okay, hi everyone, good morning. I'm very happy to present for the first time, by the way, in Tunisia. It has been 24 years that I left abroad for my studies and to live there. I started to work in New York in 2007 for 16 years now. Time flies. And this is the first time I'm invited to present here in Tunisia. So it's really a special day for me today. I will not add more to what Fadwa said, so you know my profile already. So what I decided to present is to do a reflection on successful companies, why companies are successful nowadays. And then I will talk about why customer experience is important for marketing. And then I will describe the customer journey process. What is the difference AIML? I know that many people are tech here in this room, but just for those who are more general audience, so I will explain what's the difference and why we need everything in marketing. Then I will talk a little bit about AIML application and then the trends for the future in marketing. So if we look at three big companies that we know, Apple, Amazon, and Uber. So we know, for example, Amazon are very, very, very strong in terms of product availability. They have plenty of product available on the website. They have a great checkout process. They make life easy for every customer. If we take the example of Uber, it's safe and secure transaction, convenience and comfort, and very great app. You can, for example, follow the cab coming and very close. The same that you use here, Bolt, I think, in Tunisia, right? And then Apple, you can see the concept of the store. We call them town square. So the town square, they are integrating nature with technology, as you can see. Apple is known for their great innovation, and the store is so beautiful. So that's also important for customers. They are also known for the communication technique, the acronym, we call it APPLE. A, to approach the customer and have a nice welcome and customized welcome. The P is to probe the customer, understand what's wrong. And the second P is to propose a solution. L is to listen to the needs and the issue of the customer. And E is to end the conversation by inviting them to come back to the store. So if we look at all these three big companies, what is the common theme here? The common theme is CX, customer experience. It's all about how I can provide the best customer experience. So to explain a little bit more about marketing, because many people think straight advertising. Marketing is not just advertising. It's not just publicity on the TV, okay? So marketing is a whole process, and this is just part of it. I cannot put the whole thing, but this is the main thing. And anything that I do in marketing, product strategy, place strategy, promotion strategy, or price strategy, whatever the piece that I do we call the marketing mix or 4Ps, I have to think how I can provide the best customer experience. So when you think advertising, as you can see, advertising is just, I cannot use the pointer, sorry, but advertising is just one small element of marketing. So when I do marketing, it's a whole process, and I have to think everywhere where I do marketing about how I provide the best customer experience. So this is the journey that we call customer journey. It starts from awareness, so I need to make the customer aware of my product, aware of my brand, and then it goes up to, and we know that there are a lot of companies, they don't think about post-purchase, they think just, let me make the transaction, let me sell something to the customer, and that's it, move on. But that's wrong. You have also to think about the post-purchase. So what happened during the process, at every stage of the process that we call touch point with a customer, I have to provide the best strategy and the best tactic that influence the customer in a way that I will achieve exactly what I want in marketing. And I don't like to use the word manipulation. We don't manipulate in marketing, unless I am an ethical company, and that's a different story. But assuming I am an ethical company, I'm a responsible company, so at every touch point, I will provide the best strategy to influence the customer, and we come back to the same idea, the best customer experience. So what's the difference AI/ML? So we know that AI is a branch of computer science. So we have, according to the definition of IBM, it mimics the intelligence of human. We try to solve complex problem in a smart way. And we have everything like holographic interface, for example, robots, sensor, NLP. We were talking about Gen AI earlier, etc. So all that is in AI. The ML, which is a subset of AI, it's how I can create algorithms that could parse the data, that could learn from it. So I make training of the model, and then I apply it to make in the validation data, what we call the data set that we call validation or test, and I try basically to make the appropriate decision. So ML, we can find, for example, clustering analysis, association analysis, prediction, classification, KNN algorithm, etc., etc. Decision trees. Deep learning, of course, is so important also in marketing, but I tried to just focus on two things, AI and ML, in this talk. So if we look at some statistic, as you can see, and this is the latest I was able to find, because Statista is very, very reliable database. So you can see 2021 already, 3 years ago. So you could imagine how these numbers are even higher 3 years later. Everything is about the customer. So generating customer insight and intelligence, improving customer experience, retaining customer. All the percentages are very high. So if I look at the first two, it's above 50%. So it shows how important to use AI and ML at every stage of what I'm doing in marketing. So we talked about the 4 Ps earlier. So the 4 Ps, remember, product, price, promotion, and place. So as you can see, I can use AI, ML for every one of them. For example, social media, content creation, I use AI, ML. Product design and recommendation, I will explain how we do that in more technical way. Avatar creation for advertisement. Facial recognition for advertisement. An example is Amazon recognition. It's used by so many companies. Pricing optimization and real-time adjustment, and geolocation intelligence. So all of them are important for marketing, and all of them we are using AI and ML. To support the marketing mix, I use what we call the process support. So I have, for example, customer segmentation, lead generation and scoring, CLV forecasting, etc. And as you can see, I can use all this kind of ML technique at every stage. So it's very, very important in marketing. I will show you an invention by a Japanese professor, Dr. Miyashita. I hope that I'm pronouncing the name correctly. He's expert in human and computer interactions. He created in 2021 what we call the TTTV, Taste the TV. Believe it or not, in the future, you will be able to taste the food before you order that. And that's kind of weird, right? So the first thing we do, data analysis and creation. Of course, the food, let's say a hamburger, is mixed, it becomes a solution, and there is a taste sensor that will measure the intensity of the taste. So there are basic tastes that the sensor have to taste: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and what we call savory. So after that, that data becomes digital data input in the TV. And then we have those canister. You see the canister in the second picture? We have 10 canister. So for example, if you order a food, those canisters are capable of melting the flavor together to give you exactly the taste of the hamburger that you want to order. And then the liquid is produced on the screen, and you can literally taste the liquid, and then you can make a decision. You like it or you don't like it. You order it or not. I don't know if you heard about it, but that's coming probably soon in the future. This is another example of AI and ML application. 𝗏𝗶𝗶 is an extension of Tableau. I don't know if you know Tableau as a software. So 𝗏𝗶𝗶 is capable of using machine learning to build predictive AI model. And for example, I can have a dashboard like this one, where I can see the sales opportunity optimization at every stage of the funnel. Earlier I was saying I can make a customer from just a prospect. He or she is just a visitor, and then I can make him or her a customer. But I have to go through different stages. Remember that, right? So it starts from prospect up to the end, becomes customer, and even more advocate, means he or she can advocate for my brand or my product. At every stage, I can see the percentage of profitability, how much it's worth to really impact that specific group of lead. This is what we call the lead generation as well. We call it lead generation. So this is an example of how we can use AI and ML in so many applications in marketing. Technically speaking, now I will go a little bit technical. So how do we do cluster analysis? Earlier I talked about customer segmentation, right? So before I start my 4 Ps strategy, the first thing you have to do is to analyze the market. Who is my market? It's composed of what kind of customer? What's the profile of the customer? That's what we call customer segmentation. We use AIML. So we use, for example, clustering analysis, and either hierarchical or non-hierarchical. It depends on the kind of data you have. But the important thing is that cluster analysis is capable to show me exactly who are the different group of customer and what are the characteristics of every group, so that I can propose the best strategy and tactic for that specific group. Another application, Amazon. So let's say I'm looking for a tennis racket and I want specifically head brand, okay? So I put my search on Amazon. Of course, Amazon will give me a plenty of options, head and many other brands, but I'm stubborn. I want head. So I click on head tennis racket, but Amazon doesn't give up, because Amazon will give me other option in the butt, right? So what you see here in the first line, because I cannot use the pointer, so what you see here is different. This is what we call association analysis. It tells me which items are frequently purchased together. But what you see here, it's a different algorithm being used. The second line is what we call the recommender system. So that's the one that I will explain, the recommender system. So here is how it works, the recommender system. Let's say you watch a movie on Netflix, or Amazon. They have Amazon also some movies. And you like love and romance movie. I will send you also other love and romance. So that's an example, but that's what we call content-based filtering. So I'm just looking at the characteristic of the item of the movie. I can look also at your profile as, for example, gender, male, female, or age. That's content-based. But I can do collaborative filtering. This is more personalized. This is really more diving deep into machine learning, because here I will look at finding similar users. I look at your historical preference, and that's why we always put cookies. Those we know that the cookies will be gone by Google soon. So they have plenty of other ways to know more about us everywhere where we go. So, and they look at interaction with items, so how you interact, for example, with items. And here we have two types of model. We have what we call the memory-based or model-based. The memory-based is when I apply the model on the whole database. If I don't have a large database, it's fine. I can do it. It's fine. But model-based is when I have a huge database. I cannot do the model on the whole database. So I do it on the training, and then I apply that to the validation. So basically, I do the usual machine learning that we know. A little bit more technical. So how does it work? So I will create a matrix, what we call a matrix of similarity. There are different measures that we use cosine, Pearson correlation, Jaccard index, Euclidean distance, Manhattan distance, etc. There are many. And you have to pick the appropriate one. We know in machine learning, better not to use just one. You have to try. And I can do the similarity by users or by item. It depends on my data. If I have a large database, it's better to do it by item because it's too much by user. Or I can do it also by user if I have enough. I can do another thing. I can do cluster analysis, what I was talking about it earlier. I group, if I have a large database, I make it subset of databases, right? And then I apply similarity matrix. After that, I do the top recommender, so the top n items. We use the KNN algorithm usually. We can use deep learning as well, so it depends on the situation we have. And then based on that, I can generate prediction for the user. What kind of movie I want to predict in terms of rating, for example. What I can predict that the user will rate that movie or that movie, okay? There is a problem, however, technically speaking. We call it the cold start problem. Means what about if I have a new user or new item? I don't have enough information about that, so that I could be stuck with my algorithm. Because I'm in Tunisia, I wanted to promote Tunisian professor and researcher, Dr. 𝗏𝗏𝗃, who is, maybe you know him. He's at Qasim University, Saudi Arabia, but also he's affiliated with Mars Research Lab at University of Sousse. And he published a nice article, if you want to read it. So he compared 3 databases, and he wanted to see how we can apply those kind of similarity metrics, either user-based or item-based. And he showed that not all the metric will perform well, basically, in terms of recommender system. It depends on the data that you have, the characteristic of the data. And he showed that some more recent measure could perform better than a little bit more older or classic measure. But it doesn't mean that the older one are not good. So the lesson here is that you always, and that's the thing that we always say in machine learning, you always have to try many things with your data and then pick the one that gives you the best performance, basically. Also, he discussed something very important. That's what we do in the current recommender system, Netflix, Amazon, Pandora, for example, Spotify to recommend music. So they integrate also semantic knowledge. What are you doing in social media? They gather also that information, and it gives them more information about what you are doing and who are you as a person, and that will help them make better recommendation. So to finish, what are the trends in marketing for the future? For the future, according to e-consultancy report, so data aggregation is very important. As you know, nothing is in silo now. You are connected everywhere. That's the IoT. So you are connected with your device, laptop, phone, many other devices. So they know everything, the smartwatch, etc. So they are capable of gathering so much information. That's data aggregation. For the future, also CX will rise even more. I was talking about CX from the beginning. It will become even more and more important in the future. Creative experiences, what we see with VR, AR, etc., all this kind of technology, so how we use them in order to provide the best customer experience. I don't know if you know fashion show and the fashion company like Gucci, like Fendi, etc. If you see the virtual store that they are working on, it's crazy. So that's the future, by the way. Now, whenever I ask my students, do you like this? Despite the fact that they are the newest generation, they say, I'm not sure. But because they do that, it means there is a market for that. Maybe the generation alpha, the new generation coming, the babies of now, okay? So, and then we have the Gen AI, delivering business value. We talked a lot about Gen AI in this conference, so it will become even more important. And because of the demand will become even more complex in the future, sustainable capability will become even more important. We started to talk yesterday in some of the talk about the importance of the sustainability and responsible AI. And I finish with this slide. And as you can see, when we ask companies, what do you expect to put as a budget in the future, in the coming years, So where will you put your budget? You can see that data and insight capability, very high, more than 50%, and technology and infrastructure spending more also exceed 50%. So technology and everything related to technology is the key for the future, including marketing. That's what I want to say at the end, and I'm open to any question. I try to make it very quick.
So, it deserves you. So thank you so much, Nawel, for this brilliant presentation and talk. Thank you for all these real-world examples that you have provided to understand how machine learning and AI can be leveraged to in the marketing domain. So in the remaining time, we can take one question or two, maybe. Okay.
Hello, Mr. Fayton. Thanks for the presentation. First of all, I am the first-year computer engineering student, specialized in IoT and embedded systems. My question is in the context of startups, as AI and machine learning in marketing of a startup. Should we use all the technology you talked about in early stages in the startup era, or like when our startup is developed to a company, should we like put all what we got in this field? Like I'm talking about the timing when to use all this technology. Is it in early stages, medium stages, or after the success of it? And thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you, a very interesting question. I always have my students also asking me that kind of question. Okay, so if the company exists already, they do a lot of, because what you are talking about at the beginning when it is startup, it means what we call the marketing research. So that you understand the market, you understand what's happening in the market, how you provide your product and service, right? So if you exist already in the market, not a startup, right? There is a debate. Sometimes they say it's needed to dive deep. Sometimes it's not needed if you have enough information to make decisions. So it's all about, do I have the information? Do I have the budget? Etc. Okay, so there are key capability that you should have to know if you can do it or not. Sometimes there are even big companies, they do mistakes. They do marketing research, they do mistake, it costs them a lot. I can give you the example of Coca-Cola in the 80s. They did a big mistake, an experiment that was not done the right way, and they lost a lot. They lost 2 years, $2 million, and at the end of the day, they needed to retract basically the new product that they offered because of all that, and then put back the product that they wanted to retract from the market. So if you don't do it, basically, if you don't do the right way, it could cost you a lot. And especially if you are a startup, because you have a lot of initial investment that you have to take into account. But I come back now to the example of startup. My recommendation as a marketing expert, I would say you have to do it. You have to do it no matter what, even if, because you need to understand the market to know exactly how you approach it. And here is a problem, however. If you do it and the competition knows what you are doing, they can have the first advantage, the first mover advantage. So you have to be careful as well how to protect what you are doing at the beginning, because competition are always spying and they know what you are trying to do and they try to outweigh you and come first in the market. So that's my recommendation as an expert. I would say you have to do it, but you have to do it the right way and in the timing that allow you to basically commercialize your product the right timing and the right way. Make sense?